Peyton Manning get let off the hook here?
I think that Peyton Manning, you can make a legitimate argument that he got let off the hook. I would make the argument that he was probably innocent. To me, I'm going to give Peyton Manning the benefit of the doubt. I'll be the first to admit it. You got an illustrious 18-plus year career. You know, you're the greatest regular season quarterback in history. You're a two-time Super Bowl champion. You've been a model citizen throughout your entire career in the National Football League. If there was ever an individual who deserved the benefit of the doubt, it is him. However, my thing is Peyton Manning will be synonymous with football. Adam Schefter, this man does direct TV commercials for the NFL ticket, the package. I mean, you're going to see him advertised all over the place. His illustrious career, he's excellent. His relationship with the NFL will operate into perpetuity because of his greatness, because he's a member of that quote-unquote first family, which is the Mannings. So if you're sitting there and you're talking about all of these other guys, then obviously you have to mention Peyton Manning's name. But again, the NFL said, we spoke to him. We've investigated the matter. It's going. So if anything, Peyton Manning incriminates the players in this particular instance just as much as anything else, because unlike them, apparently he has spoken to the league, and the league says that's before.
You just pointed out maybe one of the reasons why he feels comfortable speaking to the league. Not only do they kind of,
but is there
an implicit promise of more leniency if you cooperate and you talk to them, but also you just said it. He's in the first family. He's the leading member of the first family of the NFL. He expects that his relationship, I assume, would go farther than the relationship that some of these other players have with the NFL.
Well, look, I think right now the NFL and the NFLPA are in a position where they are not in concert. They don't agree on anything, and they're going to find every issue they can to be at loggerheads. And this is just the latest example. If the NFL said, we want to talk to you on Tuesday, the NFL said, we're not talking any day. If the NFL said, we don't want to talk to you, the NFLPA would say, we want to talk to you Tuesday. That's just the way that
they are. And at the end of the day, it is fair to say, I think we all can agree that the NFL's pockets are significantly bigger than that of the players. So anytime you go to court, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because even though I was an insider for many years on the NBA, I certainly am not an insider on the NFL. Adam Schefter, you would know this better than me. Do you recall any case where the Players Association went to court for free? Like it didn't cost them a dime? I'm just saying. Have they ever gone to court on behalf of the players where it didn't cost them any money?
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that to be the case. That's all I'm trying to say.
They're doing their job.
They're doing their job.
Yeah.
For making time for us. We appreciate your perspective.
Guys.
Thank you, brother.
Hour 16 as our fantasy football marathon continues here on First Take, presented by DraftKings. Ezekiel Elliott is being considered one of the best fantasy running backs this season, even though he's never played a down in the NFL. Are the expectations too high? We tell you next. After being the 4th overall pick in this year's NFL draft, Ezekiel Elliott has the top-selling jersey this offseason, gentlemen, and now fantasy owners are all buying the hype, too. The expectations couldn't be much higher for Elliott, whose average draft position currently sits at 6th. So since 2001, 4 of the 37 running backs selected in the first round finished in the top 10 in fantasy as a rookie. Max, is Elliott ranked too high?
When you have him not as the first overall running back, no, but I've seen many boards where he's the first overall running back in fantasy. That's too high. Ezekiel Elliott is big time. And I say that because even with all these expectations, when you have to bet on someone to live up to the pressure, forget about the fact that he's running behind one of the best offensive lines in the game, at least on paper, and in the way they've played the last couple of years. Des Bryant, healthy, will stretch the field. If every time Romo's on the field, it's going to help. Maybe they came up with something in Dak Prescott if Romo's not available. Jason Witten's still reliable, veteran. All of that is going to help Ezekiel Elliott. But putting all that aside, he's a big-time player. First ever BCS playoff format, and he's, pardon the pun, carrying his team. I mean, he's coming up big with the money on the line time after time in that playoff run. So he's big time. I get it. I expect him to perform. I do not expect him to be the best overall running back, not with Todd Gurley out there. And by the way, as good as Ezekiel Elliott was in college, the sense was not that he was Todd Gurley. I mean, you know, the sense was Nick Chubb might have been better than Ezekiel Elliott at a time, or, you know, that level, and Gurley was a cut above, and Gurley's going to have a huge role in his offense. Le'Veon Bell, when he's on the field, is probably going to be the best overall when he's on the field, but that's after week 4, should he stay healthy. Adrian Peterson's still getting it done. So for those who would have him the first overall running back taken, it's a little bit high, especially nowadays in fantasy with the way the stretch vertical yards go.
The year of the wide receivers.
Wide receivers are going higher.
I still don't understand where the hell you're going. Where's Ezekiel Elliott? First, second, third? Where?
I would say Ezekiel Elliott is the 3rd running back on my draft board, but once Le'Veon Bell comes back, he's 4th.
Well, first of all, far be it for me, I'm not going to try to come across as some fantasy football expert. Quite frankly, all of these years, I'm wondering what the hell everybody was so enamored with. But nevertheless, it's big time. Welcome to the fantasy club. I'll join, no problem. I don't have Ezekiel Elliott number 3. I'm here to tell you that right now. And I'll tell you why I don't have Ezekiel Elliott number 3. I'll tell you why it's damn near blasphemous why you have him at number 3, Max Kellerman. You know, despite your boxing expertise, you actually know some football, bro. I really, really don't understand how you forget certain nuggets of information considering the brilliance of you, how you articulate and elocute yourself, how you know so many different things. What number is the key number there? 1 and 11. Familiar with that number? You're familiar with 1 and 11? What's 1 and 11, Max Kellerman?
Without Romo.
That was the record without Romo, okay? So we had a Darren McFadden rushing for 1,000 yards, averaging 4.6 yards a carry. Before Joseph Randle decided to rob a department store for cologne and a pair of drawers, he was averaging more than 4 yards a carry himself. It's just the truth. I'm just here to be truthful, okay? Before Joseph Randle was doing that, he started 6 games. Darren McFadden started the last 10, played in all 16 games, averaged 4.6 yards a carry, gave Dallas the number 9 rushing attack in all of football. He had over 1,000 yards, but they were 1 and 11 without Romo. So in other words, what I'm saying to you is that what are you going to do if you're an opponent of the Dallas Cowboys? You're going to hurt Romo, and I'm not wishing that for him. I swear to you, I'm not wishing that on him. But his history tells me to expect him to get hurt because he's going to get hit, he's going to fall, he's going to land wrong, whether it's on the collarbone, the rib, whatever. And as a result, maybe Dak Prescott is going to get an opportunity to prove that he belongs. So you got a rookie quarterback with a rookie running back. You got people with the offensive line, and whether it's Doug Free, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, whomever, what you're going to do is know that Dallas Cowboys offensive line is formidable. You're going to stack the box, stack the line of scrimmage, and dare the rookie quarterback to beat you, or dare Tony Romo to remain durable enough to beat you. Ezekiel Elliott ain't going to get the ball nearly as much. Therefore, excuse me, all of this stuff about him. And by the way, while we're sitting there talking about Ezekiel Elliott, let's be clear about something here. I like the kid. He can play. He really, really can play. I didn't think it was wise for him to get an Urban Meyer the way that he did when they lost to Michigan, but he was right. It's just that, you know, that's Urban Meyer. You got to watch your mouth just a little bit there. But then the next week he got the ball against Michigan instead of Michigan State, and you saw what he did against them. But even though I wouldn't call him this, Ezekiel Elliott is a big boy who's not the most elusive dude in the world. And yards after the catch, after contact, very impressive on the collegiate level. But we used to say the same thing to a lesser degree about Trent Richardson out of Alabama.
Oh, don't compare him to Trent.
I'm not comparison him to that.
Listen, you know you messed up, right?
I'm saying this is the NFL.
In the words of
this is the NFL.
In the words of the cops in Medicine Society, you know you messed up, right?
Whatever.
You know you messed up.
I'm waiting.
Because
I'm waiting.
You just said without Romo they were 1 and 11, right? And how many yards did McFadden have per carry?
1,000.
And it was 4.6 yards a carry. Yes. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So if McFadden's getting 4.6 yards a carry behind that line without Romo negating their stretch threat, right?
Who's to say Ezekiel Elliott's going to be better than McFadden?
Everyone in the world.
Everyone in the world. I need to see the belief.
We got to go to break.
I haven't seen him play in the NFL yet. Can we pump the brakes just a little bit?
A little bit.
When we come back, Cam Newton had the most fantasy points of any player last season, but is there another quarterback who will take that reign this year? We'll debate when First Take in the Fantasy Football Marathon presented by DraftKings continues. That's next.